wanted God to show me three things, and it was, I wanted Him to show me His power in mighty ways. I felt like I was that stagnant in my walk, and I wanted Him to show me His power. And I wanted Him to bring our family closer as a unit together. And I wanted Him to use me. Other than singing, I wanted Him to use me in a way that I can share the good news. And He used Dennis's illness to make that all happen.
Every year when the weather changes, I have sinus trouble, drainage, and I'll get a sore throat, and just kind of weary. And I'd fought that for about a month, just on and off. It'd come and it'd go, and it'd come and it'd go. And I just got to a point mid to late November where I was just exhausted. I had no energy, didn't want to do anything. When I went to the doctor, and they looked at the throat and took some cultures and said there's no strep throat. And then the doctor came in a little while later and said that I had AML, which is Acute Myelogeneous Leukemia. Then another doctor came in and explained to me what that meant. When she got out of church and she saw I wasn't home, I guess she came by the emergency room to see and saw my truck there.
When I arrived at the hospital, I literally had 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, alone with Dennis when they told me he had leukemia. He was told before I even got there, so he had no family support. And so when I got there, he thought I already knew. And I saw the look on his face, and I thought, there's something wrong. I know there's something wrong. I just thought he was here for sinus problems. And when he grabbed my hand and clung to me really tight, I'll never forget that. He grabbed me so tight and said, "Janet, they think I have leukemia." And I just felt like the whole floor was out from under me.
When he came in and told me what the next 6 months of my life was going to be like, and I look back on, I can laugh about it now, but I was serious at the time. He said, "This is what we're going to have to do," and I said, "Well, there's a few things I need to do. I'll come back." And he said, "No, you're going upstairs to a room immediately." I was diagnosed December 2nd. I was in Hutchinson Hospital until they sent me to Wichita on December 5th, transferred me to Wichita. I was in Wichita from December 5th until January 17th. I was not in remission after 2 rounds of chemotherapy, that I still was not in remission. They were transferring me to Kansas City so the doctors there could get me in remission. When we got to Kansas City, the doctor came in and told us that they had a regimen of chemotherapy. He wanted to give me, it was a different kind of chemotherapy. It had a 35% chance of survival, of making it through the chemotherapy. If it did not work, then the only thing to do is make me comfortable. I mean, and my thoughts at that point were, I had never ever thought that I could die. I mean, that just never crossed my mind until that point. That night, they came in, do blood work like they always do. And the next morning, the doctor came in and he said that he wanted to do another biopsy. And I said, okay. I said, why are we doing that? Because they were going to start the chemotherapy that next morning. I said, why are we doing the biopsy? And he said, your blood work doesn't show that of somebody that's sick. It shows a healthy person. And 24 hours later, he said, we've got the preliminaries back. We don't have all the results. He says, you're less than 2% blast and 5% is considered remission. So from the time we left Wichita to the time we got there in 2 days' time, I went from a 40% blast of leukemic cells, is what they call it blast, to down to less than 2%. In my case, in this instance, I can always say, well, God's in control. I mean, He controls everything, and I believe that. Did I practice it? No. When this hit me, I had no control over anything. I didn't have control over my time, schedule events, what was going to happen, financial, nothing. I mean, everything was in God's hands at that point. I mean, He pretty much stripped me of everything. the time that I spend with my family is more meaningful than anything right now. The church family did a lot for me in many, many ways. And I suppose I never really thought how important the church family was. The things that we do in life is just, there's a lot of things I used to think were important that are not. They're not important anymore. When I first went to Wichita, my mother-in-law brought a scripture verse up, and it was hanging on my wall for the 2 months that I was in the Wichita hospital. And you lay there in bed and you stare at that every day, and it had a lot of meaning to me. And it was Psalm 91, 14 through 16. And it says, "Because he loves me, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him with long life. I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." I always knew God would deliver in my heart. I always felt that he would. But I think a strong family support and a strong church support had a lot to do with that.
This will be the best Thanksgiving ever. we are so thankful this year. We're always thankful, but this year there's so much more meaning to Thanksgiving, and we are so blessed. So blessed. We are so grateful for what God has done in our family. If you would have told us a year ago or 9 months ago that we'd be here right today, right now how Dennis is today, I would not have believed it. Would not have believed it. So he has come so far, and God's healing touch is powerful.